Function of hypothalamus. The first function of hypothalamus is to regulate our body temperature. Our body temperature lies within a narrow range, and this narrow range is maintained by the hypothalamus through two mechanisms, through the heat production and heat loss. Whenever there is cold outside, then hypothalamus orders the body to produce the heat through the vasoconstriction, shivering and goosebumps. Whenever there is hot outside, then hypothalamus orders the body to lose the heat, and it turns through the vasodilation and through the sweating. So in this way, hypothalamus regulates our body temperature. The next function of hypothalamus is to regulate hormone of the anterior pituitary, and hypothalamus releases certain hormones, releasing hormones, which these releasing hormone actually goes to the anterior pituitary and orders the anterior pituitary to release more hormones like hypothalamus. The releasing hormone of the hypothalamus are thyroid releasing hormone, gonadotropin releasing hormone, growth hormone releasing hormone, corticosteroid or releasing hormone, somatostatin and dopamine. These are the releasing hormone which act on the anterior pituitary. Similarly, hypothalamus also regulate posterior pituitary hormone, antidiuretic or vasopressin hormone and oxytocin hormone. Next function of hypothalamus is to control the circadian rhythm of our body. Circadian rhythm means diurnal variation of body activities or body function. And for example, sleep waking cycle, menstrual cycle, meal timing, all these occur after a particular time, or they actually follow a particular rhythm, and this rhythm is maintained through the hypothalamus, and this circadian rhythm is actually maintained by the hypothalamus through the suprachiasmatic nucleus. Next function is to control the hunger and feeding. Hunger and feeding. Hunger is the feeling of being hungry, and this feeling is maintained by the hypothalamus. Our body weight is maintained relatively constant over a long time, and it is determined by the balance between the calorie intake and calorie expenditure, and the control of food intake is maintained by the hypothalamus. And the ventromedial nuclei of the hypothalamus is actually satiety central, and this ventromedial nuclei causes satisfaction feeling. When we eat, we feel satisfied, and when this ventromedial nucleus is damaged, then there is no satiety feeling, and there is more eating, and this lead to the hyperphagia, and this hyperphagia causes obesity. So damage to the ventromedial nuclei of the hypothalamus causes obesity. So while the feeding center is situated in the lateral hypothalamic area. Lateral hypothalamic area is related to the feeding center. Whenever this feeding center is damaged, then it produces anorexia. Anorexia means no hunger, and person usually dies of starvation. Next function of the hypothalamus is to control the autonomic nervous system. Autonomic nervous system is a sympathetic and parasympathetic system, and the head of the autonomic nervous system is hypothalamus. Hypothalamus control the parasympathetic and sympathetic activity of our body. Hypothalamus also control the water intake or thirst. It regulates our thirst also. For example, whenever there is decrease extracellular fluid volume in our body or increase plasma osmolarity. Then what happen? Then osmoreceptor of our body give message to the brain, and to which area? To the hypothalamus. And hypothalamus perceive the condition that our body needs the water, and it orders the posterior pituitary to release the antidiuretic hormone or vasopressin hormone. And this effect of this vasopressin hormone is to decrease the urine and increase our thirst, and thereby retain the water in our body and maintain our extracellular fluid volume. So this is the way the hypothalamus control our thirst. It also control our emotional behavior because it is related to the limbic system of our body. Amygdala and hippocampal area gives afferent messages to the hypothalamus, and this so hypothalamus also regulate the emotional behavior of our body. Control of cardiovascular system. Hypothalamus also control cardiovascular system because hypothalamus is related to the brain, give message to the brain stem, and brain stem has the vasomotor centers and cardiac vagal centers. And this vasomotor center, the head of the vasomotor center is actually hypothalamus. It also control our waking cycle like circadian rhythm, and the center for this is suprachiasmatic nucleus of the hypothalamus. Now afferent connections of the hypothalamus. This is hypothalamus, and these are the afferent connection of the hypothalamus, and these are the efferent connection of the hypothalamus. Afferent means hypothalamus is taking information or messages from these different areas of our brain, and it is giving order or messages to these different areas of the brain. So these are the afferent fibers or afferent connections, and these are the efferent connections. First is the olfactory area, give afferent information to the hypothalamus, and it is related to the sense of olfaction or smell sense. Hypothalamus also takes information from the cerebral cortex, area number 6 from the frontal lobe and prefrontal area. Hypothalamus also receive impulses from the limbic system, areas of the limbic system, and these areas hippocampal area, amygdala. These are the area of the limbic system which are connected to the hypothalamus. So hypothalamus is also related to the behavior and emotion of our body. Hypothalamus takes messages from the thalamus, and thalamus is the somatosensory relay station, is a main nuclei of the main sensory nuclei, and so different senses also comes to the hypothalamus through thalamus. Hypothalamus also receive impulses from raphe nucleus and locus coeruleus area of the brainstem. Hypothalamus receive impulses from the reticular activating system, so it is related to the circadian rhythm or sleep wake rhythm of our body. Hypothalamus give efferent to the spinal cord, actually to the sympathetic center of our spinal cord, because hypothalamus is the head of the autonomic nervous system, and it gives information or orders to the autonomic nervous system, and it goes through the spinal cord. And it also regulate different autonomic center like vasomotor center area, and these areas are located in the brain stem. So hypothalamus also give information or messages through the efferent fibers to the brain stem autonomic centers. Hypothalamus also give information to the posterior pituitary, efferent information to the posterior pituitary to release the antidiuretic hormone and oxytocin, Hypothalamus also give information to the thalamus. So these are the afferent connection and these are the efferent connection of the hypothalamus.